Dear students, we cannot imagine a world where we can live without electricity because in one or the other way we are dependent on it. Namaste everyone, welcome to online classes. Today's topic is current electricity. See, so far in the previous chapters we discussed about static electricity or electrostatics, where we studied the concept of charge, what are the properties of charges, in general behavior of charges at rest. We studied what is the force, electrostatic force between two charges. We studied about the electrostatic field. We studied the potential at a point due to a point charge, potential energy of a system of charges, the electric dipole, the field produced by the electric dipole, the potential energy of the dipole, and the charge storing and thereby the energy storing device called capacitors. So, these are the things we studied in the previous chapters. So, now we study the current electricity. Whenever the charges move, they start to flow, they constitute what is called electric current. Okay, so this electric current, whenever it flows, the electrical energy is transferred from one region to another region for utilization, and thus electrical appliances work. Okay, so in the previous chapters you studied whenever a positive charge is placed in an electric field region, say this is a positive charge, if an electrostatic force acts on it, due to which it moves along the direction of electric field, whereas if a negative charge is placed in the electric field, so it moves in a direction opposite to the direction of electric field. So, whenever charge flows or when the charge moves, it constitutes what is called electric current. Okay, so what are the necessary requirements, essential conditions for the electric current to flow? The first one is the potential difference between the points. There should exist a potential difference between the points. Between the 2 points, and a conducting path is required. Which connects 2 points. Okay, so these are the necessary requirements or conditions for the electric current to flow. Okay, so consider an example. We have two say bodies A and B. Say this is another body B. Say both are positively charged. Say body A, its potential is plus 5 volt, and say this is the other body, body B, its potential is plus 3 volt. Okay, so now both are positively charged, right? But what about the number of electrons present in these two objects? If I compare the number of electrons present in these two objects, the number of electrons in this particular body or the object is more compared to the number of electrons present in this particular object. I am saying number of electrons present in this particular body is more compared to the number of electrons present in this particular body, okay, object. So, if these two objects are connected by a conductor, so what happens? The electrons start to flow, the negative charge, I mean electrons, so start to flow from the object B to object A, okay, until the two bodies attain equal potential or same potential. Okay, so when the electrons start flowing from body or the object B to object A, apparently positive charges move from object A to object B. So, the conventional direction of current is along which the positive charge moves. So, therefore, the current flows from body A to body B. Okay. Actually, electrons are flowing or moving from the object B to object A, but the conventional current direction, it is by convention, the direction of current is from A to B. So, this flow of charges or the flow of current continues until the two bodies attain the same potential, equal potential. When the potentials equalize, so then current becomes 0. Okay, so therefore, there exists a potential difference, there should be a potential difference between the two objects, 2 points, and there should be a conductor which connects the two objects, then only current flows. Okay. Right. Okay, so now I define the current. So, how to measure the current, how to define the current now? The flow of charges per unit time is called current. How to define the current? The flow of charges through any cross sectional area, there is no restriction of the area. Okay. It is not per unit area or through a particular area, there is no restriction for the area. Amount of charge flowing through any cross sectional area of a conductor per second is called electric current. So, I is equal to, say, Q is the amount of charge flowing, okay, through any conductor. Okay. So, charge flowing, Q is amount of charge flowing through any cross section area in a time interval of t second. So, then I define the electric current I as Q by T. It is the average value of current, in fact, because the amount of charge flowing in a time interval of t. Okay. So, therefore, we are considering what is the total amount of charge flowing in a time interval of t seconds. So, therefore, if I define now Q by T, it is the definition for average current. Okay. So, I is equal to Q by T. Say Q is in terms of coulomb. Okay. So, time is in terms of second. So, coulomb per second is unit of current, which is called ampere, capital A. Okay. So, that is the unit of current, ampere. Okay. Right. So, if 1 coulomb charge, say Q is 1 coulomb and T is 1 second. So, then I is equal to 1 coulomb per 1 second, that is 1 ampere. If 1 coulomb is amount of charge flowing through any cross section area of a conductor in a time interval of 1 second, then the current flowing through that particular conductor is 1 ampere. Okay. So, that is the unit of current. Okay. So, if I consider a conductor, as you know, in a conductor or metallic conductor, there is a large number of free charge carriers, I mean free electrons moving in all possible directions. They are in random motion. Okay. So, consider a conductor, say in the form of a cylinder. Here the electrons are in random motion, they move in all possible direction due to thermal energy, they have the thermal velocity, okay. They move in all possible directions, we say that they are randomly moving. So, what about the current? Whether there is a current without the application of any potential difference, without applying any electric field or without connecting it to a battery, whether conductor carries any amount of current. No, since the electrons are in random motion, the net current is 0. Okay. The current flowing or charge flowing in any particular direction is equalized the amount of charge flowing in opposite direction. So, therefore, there is no net current. Okay. Since electrons are in random motion, there is no net current in case of a conductor, even though it has a large number of free electrons which are in random motion. Okay, so if a conductor is connected to a battery or a cell or a potential difference is applied, then what happens? Okay, so the potential difference is V, the current flowing is now I. Say this end is at positive potential because it is connected to the positive terminal of the cell. This end is at negative potential because it is connected to the negative terminal of the cell. Now, the electrons are moving in a particular direction. Okay. They now under the applied electric field, those electrons are accelerated or drifted. Even though there is acceleration, the velocity of electron does not increase, it moves with a constant velocity, average velocity, that is called drift velocity. Okay. Here, due to the applied electric field, electrons move in a direction opposite to the direction of electric field. Okay. This is the direction of electric field from positive potential to negative potential. Okay. So, electrons are drifted in a direction opposite to the direction of electric field. Okay. They move like this. What about the conventional current direction? Conventional current direction is along the direction in which positive charges move or in a direction opposite to the flow of electrons. So, therefore, conventional current direction is from positive terminal of the battery to the negative terminal of the battery through the conductor. The current direction is like this. Okay. Right. Okay. So, if the current is varying, if the current is varying, what is the instantaneous value of current I? If the current is varying, so then current at any instant of time is given by the limit of delta q by delta t as delta t is tending to 0. Okay. So, that is equal to dq by dt. This is instantaneous value of current. Instantaneous current I is equal to limit of delta q by delta t as delta t is tending to 0. If the charge flowing is variable, means if the current is not steady, it is a variable current, then what is the instantaneous value of current? Current at any instant of time is limit of delta q by delta t as delta t is tending to 0. Take time interval very small, that is infinitesimally small, then what is the amount of charge flowing in that particular time interval, very small in time interval. So, then if I take the ratio, I mean delta q by delta t, then I am defining what is called instantaneous current, that is the current at any instant of time. Okay. So, that is the instantaneous value of current. So, next we discuss the current carriers. in different substances. See, in solid conductors, current carriers are the electrons. There are free electrons which are moving in a random direction. So, therefore, free electrons are responsible for current. So, current carriers in case of solid conductors are electrons. In case of electrolyte or electrolytic solution, the current carriers are positive and negative ions. In case of electrolyte, the current carriers are positive and negative ions. In case of gases, under ordinary condition, gases are insulators. Under low pressure and high electric field applied, so the gas molecules ionize. Under low pressure and high electric field, gas molecules ionize. So, there is a generation of positive ions and electrons due to ionization of gas molecules. So, therefore, in case of gases, current carriers are positive ions and electrons. Okay, so whether the current is a scalar or a vector. So, current is a scalar quantity. Okay, we have expression for current I is equal to Q by T. So, Q is a scalar quantity, it is a charge, T is the time, it is also a scalar quantity. So, therefore, I is also a scalar quantity, it is not a vector. Usually, in a circuit, we show the direction of a current by using arrow mark, but it does not indicate that the current is a vector quantity, it just gives the directional flow of charges. Okay. Say consider a part of the circuit, say here it is a part of the circuit, we have two branches here. Okay. Say main current I is 7 ampere and say in the branches current flowing are respectively say 4 ampere and 3 ampere in these two branches. So, then what about what is the net value of current? So, I is equal to, how to relate now I with I1 and I2, I is equal to I1 plus I2, this is algebraic sum of individual currents. Okay. You will get the net value of current, it is 4 plus 3 which is equal to 7 ampere, and it does not depend on the angle between these two. Okay. Whatever may be the angle between these two, current is not dependent on the angle theta, because it is not the vector quantity, it is a scalar quantity. Okay. So, the net value of current is just the algebraic sum of the individual currents. Okay, so what are the different types of currents we have? So, types of currents, the first one is steady current, the second one is varying current, and third one is alternating current. Okay, what do you mean by steady current? If the magnitude of a current is not varying with respect to time, it is constant. So, then such current is called steady current. The magnitude of current is constant, is not changing, it is constant. What about varying current? Here the magnitude of current vary, magnitude of current varies. Okay. What about alternating current? Here the magnitude and the direction vary periodically. If the magnitude and direction of a current vary periodically, then such current is called alternating current. In general, varying current means say magnitude or direction. If the magnitude and direction also, okay, vary with respect to time, okay, so then such current is called varying current. If they are varying periodically, so then it is called alternating current. So, next we discuss one important law, it is called Ohm's law. The relationship between the voltage and current was discovered by G.S. Ohm, and that relationship between voltage and current, voltage across the conductor and current flowing through the conductor is called or is given by, that law is called Ohm's law. So, Ohm's law gives the relationship between the voltage across the conductor and current flowing through the conductor. Okay, so what is the statement of Ohm's law? Ohm's law states that current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to potential difference applied across the conductor provided the physical conditions like temperature, strain, etc. remain constant or they do not change. Okay. So, current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference applied across the conductor. See, current flowing through and potential difference applied across the conductor. Okay. So, current flowing through the conductor is directly proportional to potential difference applied across the conductor provided the physical conditions like temperature, strain do not change, remain constant. Okay. So, according to Ohm's law, so I is directly proportional to V, or by which I can say V is directly proportional to I, or the ratio V by I is a constant. Here proportionality can be converted into equality by introducing some constant. So, therefore, V by I is equal to R, a constant which is called the resistance of the conductor. R is called the resistance of the conductor. Okay. Since current flowing through the conductor is directly proportional to applied potential difference, I can say V is directly proportional to I. So, that V by I is a constant for that particular conductor, which is called a resistance of the conductor. Okay. So, V by I is equal to R. Okay. See, whatever may be the material used, so V by I, the expression for resistance, okay, V by I always serves as the expression for resistance, whatever may be the material. Okay. So, for the conductor it is directly proportional, I mean V is directly proportional to I, or I is directly proportional to V. In general, how to calculate the resistance of any material, maybe conductor, maybe insulator, okay, maybe the semiconductor. So, just to calculate the ratio voltage to the current, voltage applied across and current flowing through that particular material. So, V by I always serves as the definition for the resistance of the material. Okay. So, what about the unit? The unit of resistance is ohm. Okay. So, ohm, okay, or in small letter OHM. Okay. So, that is the unit of resistance.